Hello, everyone. Thank you and for all to join me today of my showcase. Hello, everyone. I'm Sandra. Before we begin this exhibition, I would like to share a little bit about why I wanted to create this online exhibition. While I was organizing my master's arts therapy portfolio, I realized that these works actually reflect a very important emotional journey in my life over the past 5 years. During this time, arts become a significant part of my healing process. It helped me to express and process emotions that I could not easily put into words. So through this sharing, I hope on one hand to let people know more about the art therapy, and on the other hand to let you know me more as a person. And I would also like to invite you to continue walking with me in this journey as I move forward in my path of studying art therapy. I am still in the process of applying and I hadn't received an offer yet. Last week, I was asked to complete the tuition-free assessment to see if I may be eligible for home fees, but I am still waiting and I don't want to assume anything yet. But please pray for me in this journey. So I continue to wait and I hope that through different ways we can continue to work together. For those of who usually join my art classes, you may know me through teaching mindfulness, Santango, or drawing, but perhaps you don't really know me on a personal level. So through this exhibition, I hope that those of you who have been supporting my online Sandra workshops over the years can come to know me a little deeper. And even for friends who thinks they already know me, maybe this is also a chance to see another side of me. I hope that through my artworks, in some way they may bring you something, a reflection, a feeling, or even a small sense of connection. At the end of this exhibition, I would really appreciate if you could leave me a message. You can share in the chat or leave a comment after the video, and I will also share a Google form in the description box if you would like to write your reflections more privately. Also, today's sharing will mainly in English, and I will add Chinese subtitle later on. So this exhibition is not about how beautiful the artworks are, but about learning to understand my own journey and preparing for the next stage of my journey. I don't need a large audience. Having a few of you who truly walk alongside with me is already a great blessing. So thank you all of you walking here alongside with me. So today's exhibition title is here, Blooms in the Broken Clay. It's one of my artwork, the name of my artwork, and I use this artwork as this showcase. This portfolio brings together works from 2019 to last year, 2025. I would also like to mention that this journey was deeply influenced by a teacher I met in Hong Kong, who introduced me to art therapy. Even after I moved to the UK, I continued learning with her online. She has had a very significant impact on me, and I am truly grateful for her guidance throughout these years. As I received all my works, I selected 12 pieces that I felt most connected to, works that left a strong impression on me, and ones where I can still clearly remember how I felt during the process. It is not a large number, but it feels just right, and it also matches the requirement of my master's portfolio. And it takes many years to have this 12 showcase. For this exhibition, I have organized the works into 3 galleries. Although the artworks are arranged chronologically from number 1 to 12, today I will present them by theme instead. I may not go through every single piece in detail. For each session, I will share a few works that are most significant and meaningful to me. So if you would like to see the full portfolio, I will share the link to my Instagram and portfolio website in the description box also, and you can comments later. So the gallery 1 will go through the storm and the cry, and then we're going to gallery 2, light through the cracks, and finally the gallery 3 is blooming and rebirth. Okay, so let's start. Now I would like to guide you into gallery 1. Many of my works in these sessions were deeply influenced by the social and political events in Hong Kong at that time. During that period, I was not in a good emotional state. On the surface, I appeared calm, but internally, there was a lot of unrest. I often found myself feeling overwhelmed, watching the news, feeling sadness, helplessness, and emotional pain. And I began to ask myself, how can I release all these emotions? I'm truly grateful that during that time I was consistently attending art therapy and calligraphy class. This practice helped me to hold the tension between my inner emotional world and my outward appearance and allowed me to move through this storm period. So this gallery is immerse the viewer in a landscape of emotional intensity, where feelings emerge in their most raw and unfiltered forms. Created during periods of social unrest and inner turbulence, these works embody the experience of rupture, a breaking point where accumulated grief, anger, fear, and helplessness can no longer remain contained. Through forceful mark making, fragmentation, and layered imagery, the artworks serve as vessel for emotion that resist verbal expression. The dimmed atmosphere of this space reflects the weight and density of these internal states. Here, art becomes a necessary act of release, a way to externalize what is held within. As you may notice, the themes of storm and cry do not appear only once. They return again and again across different years. Sometimes stronger, sometimes quieter, but each time I face these emotions and allow myself to express them honestly, there is growth. The anger may feel similar, but what lies beneath it begins to change. Over time, I become more aware of myself. I understand my emotion more deeply, and I am able to go further into my inner world. I will share more about this later. So now I would love to bring you to one of my key works in this gallery. This piece shows how I use the art to release my emotion in that moment. This piece of work is called Anger, Beast, and Rising Phoenix. At that time, I was working in a church and I was deeply affected by the news and events happening in Hong Kong. I felt anger, sadness, and a strong sense of injustice. It was very difficult emotionally. So during a break at the work, I took whatever materials I had, some colored pens, markers, and paper, and began to a kind of scrapbook exercise, just like you see in these pictures. What is the process of me in this kinesthetic release, um, maybe you need to turn a little bit your voice down because when you see this video, maybe some noise is not very, it will make you very uncomfortable. So you need to take care of it. Maybe you need to um, control the volume to a suitable volume. Um, in this process, I closed my eyes and started with a short moment of mindful breathing. And I held three colors that represent my emotion. You can see I hold in my hands and began to draw using my whole body. Just go through, I just make a mindfulness exercise beginning. So you can see I just will climb here. And then I just began to draw using my whole body. Through movement, I release my anger, frustration, hatred, helplessness, and sense of injustice. I just feel it and I just close my eyes too and feel it and I just pressed hard. I scratch. I even hit the paper with the pencils. You will see about on the later here. I simply allowed everything to come out. So in this process, I find this video, is it about 7 minutes long? Um, just want to voice out for my deep uh, inner emotions. I just allowed my emotion through the movement, through the scratch, press, hits, to make the emotional voice out. So gradually, I slow down later on. I slowed it down and slowed it down even more until I felt I could gently stop. So when I looked at the drawing afterwards, you can see I just slow down my pace and feel that feelings. I also cry later on. So it's a memory of my head also. Um, it's a great journey for me. So until I felt I could gently stop, and then I just stop and I look to these pictures. Afterward, I saw two strong images emerging. The first is a beast. Um, Firstly, I just see the angry eye and the mouth and teeth of this beast, and it's filled with anger and intensity. And at the right hand side, I just feel that it's like a bird. Later, through art therapy process, I realized that although I also holding this anger, I was also holding something else. It's a phoenix, just like this one. This phoenix represents hope for my inner deep thinking, and it is faith and something beautiful that still longs to rise again. Now it can fly, but in my deep thinking, is that this phoenix will fly again. So even though it feels restrained now, and I believe that one day it will fly. So now I would like to bring you to Gallery 2. This gallery includes artwork 3, 4, and 11, and they all revolve around one central theme, is light through the cracks. Transformation, reflection, and calling is the themes of this gallery 2. This session marks a pivotal shift of my journey from emotional rupture towards transformation and emerging awareness. The works in this gallery explore moments when lights begin to enter through brokenness. So through reflection, surrender, and inner dialogue, this artwork chases a movement from overwhelming external realities toward discovering a deeper sense of internal grounding and meaning. So here, art is not only a container for emotions, but also a space for listening to subtle changes within ourselves, to the presence of hope, and to a deeper sense of calling. So transformation here is not sudden or complete. It unfolds through tension between chaos and stability, despair and faith, fragmentation and direction. So, and within these cracks, light does not remove the brokenness, but reveals new ways of seeing, being, and becoming. In this gallery, I would like to introduce the works one by one to you all. So this piece was created at the end of 2020 uh, as a reflection of a very turbulent year. At that time, the emotional weight from 2019 was still very present with me. In Gallery 1, especially in the earlier works, I expressed a lot of anger and emotional release, particularly in the piece with the scream, that type. But by the time I created this work, something had began to shift and began to change. There was a sense of transformation. This artwork was fluid techniques, allow colors to flow naturally through gravity. As I watched the pigments slowly move and drip and drop on the table, it felt deeply healing, almost like watching tears falls. There was sometimes something very emotional and touching in the process. You can see these two contrasting layers of colors on the left side. From one perspective, the dark tones at the bottom feel heavy and hopeless. It's like many people are crying. It's like a collective cry, as if many voices are calling out in the pain. So, but when you turn the image, you begin to see something different. It becomes like a forest or even a fire burning, a sense of resilience and a sense of hope. So to me, this transformation is very powerful, even in situations where people were suffering, where some had lost their freedom, there was still something burning inside. It's a vision, it's a light that refused to be extinguished. So for me, this work marked a shift from crying out in pain to holding on to hope. So it's from pain to hope journey, and it became a meaningful closing reflection for the year of 2020. And this next piece is closely connected to a dream I had. So around that same time in December 2020, this artwork is actually a visual expression of that dream. So in the dream, I saw myself and a small group of people on a European style vessel floating on a vast ocean. And the background is Hong Kong signature building, and the ship felt like a sacred space, beautiful inside, filled with light, but outside the sea was unstable and unpredictable. There was a sense that because of the situation in Hong Kong at that time, we could not we could no longer freely express our faith, and it felt like we had to leave, almost like escaping. Yet at the same time, we were preparing to continue worship on this ship. Later, during art therapy, I explored this dream through a role playing process. Instead of being a passenger, I became the ship itself. At first, I felt afraid. The ship felt small and fragile, not well equipped for such a vast and uncertain ocean. I wondered, am I strong enough to protect those inside? But as I continued to engage with the image, something began to shift. I realized that even though the ship had no engine, it had something else, an inner spiritual direction, and I have an inner peace inside. Inside the ship, there was warmth, light, and a deep sense of peace. It became a kind of inner sanctuary. So even though there was no clear destination, no control over the sea, there was a strong sense that God was present with the vessel, and the presence was enough for me. So this piece marks a very important transition in my journey from expressing pain externally to discovering an inner space of safety, grounding, and faith. For me, this reflects the truth that God is our refuge and strength, even in the midst of the uncertainty. The final piece in the gallery, too, is more a recent work created in May 2025. This work, this artwork reflects a deeper inner tension between two worlds. On one hand, there is a sense of comfort and familiarity within the church and ministry setting. But on the other hand, there is growing awareness of broken world, war, suffering, and global pain. The painting is divided into two contrasting spaces. The upper part shows sense of destruction, the aftermath of war, the presence of suffering, and those who are left unseen and unheard. The lower parts represent a structured, enclosed space, a place of safety, community, and belonging. But there is also a tension because while people inside feel secure, there seems to be a distance from what is happening outside. This piece expressed my inner struggle. So, a sense of frustration, loneliness, and a calling to step beyond what is familiar. Sometimes walking toward the broken place of the road feel like a very lonely path. Like this girl is running alone, as if I am the only one running to this direction, to that direction. But through this painting, I began to sense something different, that I am not alone. There is a presence behind me, unseen but real. It could be people who support me or something deeper, a divine guidance. At the end of the path, I see the cross here on the top of the mountain, and it becomes a symbol of commitment to continue walking, to continue responding to this call, even when the road is uncertain and costly. So since coming to the UK, I have had more space to reflect on my past experience in ministry, to face my own wounds, my disappointments, and the tension between the inner world and the external world. Even now, when I look at this painting, I still feel something very sharp inside. But at the same time, I also sense that there is a hand guiding me forward. And I am grateful for this journey, even the different parts, difficult parts, because without them, this work would not exist. Now I would like to bring you to the final session, gallery free, blooming, and rebirth. Works artwork 5, 7, 8, 10, and 12. This gallery represents a space of integration, renewal, and quiet transformation. After moving through fragmentation and reflection, um, or we can call brokenness, after walking through the brokenness, this work begins to show how new life can emerge from brokenness. Instead of erasing past wounds, this stage is about embracing them as part of a larger process of becoming. Through arts, pain, memory, and vulnerability are slowly transformed into strength, meaning, and growth. The atmosphere in this gallery is warmer and more gentle. It reflects a sense of grounding, acceptance, and also a deeper connection with self, with others, and with God. Here, the creative process is no longer just about releasing emotions, but about holding them, holding complexity, holding paradox, and holding ourselves with compassion. In this session of my portfolio, I also began to explore different materials, including mandala drawing, collage, and clay. And this allowed me to express deeper inner desires, longings, and internal process in different ways. Today, I will share two main works from this gallery and one final piece as a conclusion. This piece explores the idea of comfort zone. A physic of spiritual safe place also. It explores the idea of the comfort zone. Through this mandala, in the center part, it is a mandala at first here, and I reflect on what makes me feel safe, what brings me comfort, and what I long for internally. So at the center of the mandala, there is a hidden space like a treasure box. This represents my inner self, a part of me that still holds many things to be discovered. I included different elements that bring me a sense of safety and love, people I care about, family, community, teachers, even small things like food, creativity, arts, and things I enjoyed. You may also notice that the outer layer, I use shapes that resemble eggshells. To me, this represents vulnerability. Life is fragile. We call We all carry wounds, weakness, and past experience, but at the same time, these fragments also become nurtures for the growth. If you look closely, there are also vine-like forms growing through the piece. Even within the fragile, there is still growth happening. All these experience things that make me cry, make me angry, and make me laugh, make me reflect, they all become part of who I am. So after completing this piece, I had a strong desire to hold it, to embrace it, because I realized that my deepest sense of safety does not come from a place, but from relationship. And for me, the greatest source of that safety is the love of God. It feels like a warm light surrounding me, holding me, giving me a sense of peace and belonging. So it is in the universe. So I just drawing the background that represent that God knows everything and all the universe. um, God is like my protector and protect this fragile life. So it's give me a very great joy after creating these pieces. Um, just like feel a warm light embracing me, holding me, giving me peace of belonging. The next piece is a very important one in my journey, and it is called Embracing the Wounded Giant. This work began with an exploration of childhood emotions, especially fear, anger, and insecurity. At first, I used oil pastel in a physical and expressive way, through movement also, and pressures. So can see that I just feel something that maybe punishment or some bad feelings from my family, and a lot of pressures in my family that I just express it, uh, use a expressive way to uh, by using these oil pastels. And through the movement and pressures, I released a emotion connected to my past, memories of family tensions, um, fear or feeling not good enough, and experience of injustice. So as I was drawing, I noticed something familiar. The image of the angry beast appeared again. So this is a repeated theme in my works. So you can see on the right hand side on the top here, there have an angry beast. Before, at the first time I saw the angry beast first, just like they have a big mouth here. So but that this time something changed it. uh, the next day I looked at this drawing again, and I suddenly felt, oh, it looks human, it looks a giant here. So I decided to bring this image into clay. So as I slowly shaped the figure with my hands, something very emotional happened. I touched it, I added marks, I created wounds on its body, and I found myself in tears. But gradually, my perspective changed. Those wounds were no longer just pain, they become part of its story, part of its history. The figure no longer felt aggressive. Instead, it felt like it was inviting me to come closer, to embrace it. And I realized that this is not just an angry beast, this is a wounded giant. And it invited me to embrace with my fear. A being that carries pain but also holds gentleness. A protector is like a protector. On his shoulder, there is a small lamb. This represents care, tenderness, and also a spiritual image of holding vulnerability with love. So, through this process, anger was no longer something to reject or push away. Instead, it became something to understand, to hold, and to integrate. This was a very important transformation for me, from releasing anger to embracing it with compassion. As I selected these 12 works, I began to notice something very important. The theme of anger kept appearing again and again in these few years. At first, it came from external events, collective trauma, social unrest. Then it became connected to deeper personal experience, family, childhood, and inner wounds. And over time, this angry energy transformed from a beast to a phoenix and eventually to a wounded healer. I know this is still on an ongoing process. There are still many emotions to work through, but this discovery has given me a new direction to continue exploring my inner world more deeply. And I am grateful for this portfolio process because it allowed me to see something I had not fully recognized before. So this is the timeline of my portfolio. When I looked at it, it feels like a series of cycles, not a straight line, but each cycle brings growth because emotions do not disappear just because we have processed them once, they will return. But each time they return, we are not the same. We have more awareness, more courage, and more capacity to face them. And I realized that words are often not enough to express this inner experience. That is why arts became such an important language for me. And it allows me to see parts of myself that are usually hidden. And it teaches me to develop resilience, to stay with my emotions instead of avoiding them. In this fragile world, we often carry pieces of grief, anger, and vulnerability within us. Yet these fragments are not meaningless. Through arts, reflection, and faith, what was once spoken can become the ground of the growth for the growth. So don't afraid it. And I think through art, reflection, and faith, what was once broken can become the ground for growth, not by erasing the past, but by holding it, integrating it, and allowing it to be transformed. I have come to see that brokenness is not the end, but the beginning of a deeper becoming. Even in a broken clay, just like these pictures and my creation, like these pictures, something is still blooming. For me, this also reflects the truth that we carry treasure in jars of clay. So the three galleries in this exhibition, the storm and the cry, light through the cracks, the booming and blooming and rebirth. These three galleries chase my journey from 2019 to 2025, but this journey is not linear. It is made of cycles returning again and again to face what is within. So, and through this process, I began to see transformation from woundedness to becoming someone who can hold and accompany others. So, this exhibition is not a conclusion. I think it is an invitation to witness, to feel, and perhaps to recognize something within yourselves. That even in brokenness, something is still quiet blooming. Thank you so much for being here with me today and for walking through this exhibition today together. On this final slide, you can find my Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube channel. If you would like to stay connected, you are very welcome to follow me for future updates. And if you would like to view my full portfolio, you can visit the website of my Instagram page, and I will share it on the description box here. And you can just click and see the full version of my portfolio. And I would really love to hear from you. If you have any thoughts or feelings after this exhibition, you are welcome to leave me a message. I have just shared a Google form in this in the description box also. And so if you would like, you can take a few minutes after the session to write down what's your thoughts and feelings, and I would really cherish your sharing. Or you can also leave a comment or message me through WhatsApp, all are very welcome. Thank you again for your presence. It truly means a lot. See you. Bye bye.